unfamiliar with the myth of Icarus, the story goes that King Midas imprisoned Icarus and his father Daedalus in a tower that was meant to be inescapable. However, Daedalus then created wings for him and his son Icarus made out of leftover feathers and wax that he found, and in order for them to escape and fly out of the tower. However, Icarus was warned that he should not fly too fast, otherwise his wings would get too close to the sun and melt off. However, upon escaping, Icarus decided not to actually listen to his father, instead flew far too close to the sun. His wings melted, and then he fell into the sea and unfortunately drowned. So now that we all know the unfortunate happenings of Icarus once he was unprepared for dealing with the sun's heat, but what would have actually happened if he would have been prepared for the weather? So I'd like to introduce our group. We're a multidisciplinary team. My name is Janelle. I study communications. Here's David, Andrew, and Darren, and they study human health and disease. James right here studies math, and Kellen studies political science and geography. And together we're a multidisciplinary team, and we've created a mobile application called Icarus.
So what I'll be talking about, just introducing some of the social problems that we're trying to tackle with the app. So obesity is a phenomenon that is sweeping across the Western world, and in Ireland currently 1 in 4 people are classified as obese. And the weather and poor weather is a perceived social barrier to partake in physical exercise, particularly outdoors and especially amongst children. And in Ireland currently, children under 12, there's 300,000 children under 12 classified as obese. Nutritionally, even the most affluent societies, poor diet and malnutrition are recognised to have an increase in a variety of pathologies such as cancer, diabetes. And the eating patterns that we partake in as a society are greatly affected by the weather. And close to home, Ireland has one of the highest birth rates in Europe, and a study conducted at the National Maternity Hospital around the corner showed that gestating mothers throughout winter months with little to no vitamin D being synthesized by the skin, there are knock-on effects for the fetus and leading to devastating bone abnormalities.
So we all know that weather has a massive impact on our mood, and it's estimated that in Ireland alone 15% of the population are affected by seasonal affective disorder. And if you want to know, like on a European scale, this number increases to 14.8 million people who suffer from this disorder. The symptoms associated include exhaustion, social withdrawal, lack of ability to concentrate and stuff like that. So it's just an overall feeling of depression. And this is all linked to low levels of sunlight exposure. This causes various hormonal imbalances and dysregulates your body's internal clock, which results in the symptoms of this seasonal affective disorder.
Variable weather has impacts on industries such as retail and leisure across all tiers of society, including supply chain, daily operations, but most notably their consumer footfall. For example, overall consumer optimism has steadily been on the rise over the past number of years, with retail figures up 5% in 2013. Despite this, Christmas shopping figures were down 1.5% on 2012. This drop is largely accounted for due to consumer unwillingness to brave the unfavourable weather conditions.
So, despite the often unfavourable weather we face in Ireland daily, how do we go about achieving this seize the day no matter what approach to life and business in spite of it? First, you get your hands on some weather data, and lots of it. You analyse it to match scenarios to suitable options to produce the best outcomes. And how do you advise the audience on these outcomes? Well, since every second person in Ireland uses a smartphone, it seems like a pretty good place for us to start. Before leaving home in the morning, Icarus advises you on what clothes are best given the temperature, humidity and rainfall for that day. At lunch, it suggests a range of nearby eateries that are offering dishes that people tend to like on those type of days. On the weekend, rain, hail or shine, there will be a suitable activity to take part in to increase serotonin levels and overall well-being. Not only can you draw health benefits, Icarus rewards users by matching the euros you spend in local business with reward points. When the total is reached, you exercise a discount at any one of the establishments that you visited. For the businesses themselves, our executive information system matches weather data to and provides daily advice on footfall estimates as well as sales figures, allowing you to staff appropriately to cut operations costs and what product to advertise, given its success on days similar with similar climate factors. With one simple click, the owner can access our portion of the 384,000 Android users in Dublin. The advertising is results-based, meaning the businesses can trust in our service. Considering all factors, such as our team size and the time taken to set up with a business, we approximate that we'll set up with around 10 to 20 businesses in the first year from launch, which will generate a revenue of 18,750 just from consultancy fees, with the modest estimated 5% download rate from the base Android user, base, and with a 1% follow through on any offer viewed. We hope to generate €60 per advertisement per client, on an average of 2.5 times a week. Summing this all together, we get a combined revenue of nearly €136,000 in the first year. To cover the cost of setup and infrastructure, which sums to around 26,400, we'll be seeking investment in return for a 12% stake in equity in the company. Over the next year, from that initial launch date, we'll seek to roll out across Ireland and link up with partners such as Discover Ireland, as well as expanding onto other platforms like iOS.
Therefore, to conclude our presentation, we have demonstrated Icarus's market impact potential as it solves the problems that strange weather has on people's health, thus revealing its socio-economic value. Icarus is unique. It fills the void left by other competitors, tying loose ends together. Furthermore, and importantly, Icarus is feasible. From our primary and secondary research, the demand for Icarus is present. Take the 96% smartphone users of our survey, or the 1.6 million smartphone users nationwide. Never mind the 64% who would use Icarus if available, as indicated by our survey. What if Icarus was prepared for the burning sun? Indeed, if he had our app, he may well have escaped his prison. I'd like to thank you for listening, and I welcome any questions to the floor.
Hi guys, that was great. Really impressive research that you did, and I think like all good startups, this is weirder than you might know, which is actually kind of something that's quite intriguing about it. You've sort of solved the problem, but you've thrown in all these other things that make it quite unusual, which I like. But on that note, you set it up in terms of a social good, right? Obesity, depression, and then you have this tension of obviously profitability. So sometimes when you're making decisions in this, there's a tension between a product or a food, let's say, that would be socially beneficial, it'd be healthy, but maybe they want to sell more of something that's inexpensive. Who's the sort of editor? Who do you see in your company making those kinds of decisions and communicating with your public to build trust? So they know that you're not only doing it for the advertising revenue, but also for some of the social good. How does that sort of, yeah?
Well, that kind of moral good conflict did arise like throughout the creation of the product, and you know, people tend to like more heavily carb loaded based meals when it's, you know, rainy and sugary based foods, but at the same time, since we're trying to promote health, we didn't want to be promoting a donut store or something like that. But at the same time, you want to give choice. You want to, you know, you don't want to run as a nanny type service. So to an extent, you'll allow people to have freedom of choice, such as like sandwiches and stuff like that, but we'll never endorse McDonald's or anything like that. Everything will be a team decision in terms of those sorts of things, you know, and we choose who we take on as clients ourselves. The more clients we take on, the more choice we provide for our customers, the more places they can go in terms of health and overall choice, and the more users that we have, the more the clients will want to come to us. So hopefully we can pick and choose ourselves.
I think you have, yeah, it's good. It's a good answer. I think you have some more exploration to do there. One really interesting question is: this sits between, in a way, journalism or public service announcements and advertising, right? Which was a phenomenally interesting space. And the models we had in the 20th century maybe are quite outdated. They also had overlaps as well in like newspapers, yellow journalism, these kinds of things. But I really challenge you to think about this, because I think this is a viable project that you could actually make money on. But if you're going to continue to push the social good angle, it needs some thought. And yeah, so I look forward to seeing where it goes. Thank you.